Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be sharing with you guys a little bit more on my birth story and kind of what happened and how things went down. Before I forget, because it's been almost 4 weeks since I gave birth. I haven't even shown him to you guys, but his name is Alonso Ocean Sanchez and we call him baby Enzo. Get into the birth of the baby. It's actually like really hot in here. I should know this hospital. But yeah, it's kind of hot in here. Let's backtrack to July 30th. Yeah, July 30th I think was my last doctor's appointment. And at my last doctor's appointment they checked me. Again, I was still like 50-ish% A-phase, 1 centimeter dilated. Like they asked me at that appointment like what I wanted to do, if I wanted to get induced, if I wanted to wait. And it's really hard when people tell you that, because if you don't know what to do, sometimes it's nicer if like your doctor could tell you. But if you go past your due date, you don't really know if you should get induced, if you should wait, because just like anything could happen. So it's kind of hard. And I was like determined to get induced because I just had heard horror stories of waiting too long and like something going wrong. And at that appointment I was like, you know what, I'll just get induced because my doctor was on call that weekend. So we scheduled it and it was going to be on July 4th. My due date was July 3rd. Even though I'm going to insert a clip here. At my first appointment, she said that my due date was July 6th.
Weeks. So she put an estimated gestational age 8 weeks with a due date of 7/6/2020,
which is the day that the baby was born, which is kind of crazy. Yeah, we scheduled it. I was supposed to go get COVID tested July 1st. Yeah, July 1st I was gonna get COVID tested. July 3rd came around and still no baby, and that was my due date. And then on July 4th I was supposed to go into my scheduled induction, which was going to be at 4 in the morning. We had everything already packed, ready to go, and then I was like brushing my teeth or something, and then I went back to get my phone, and then I had a missed call from the hospital, and I knew right away that it was going to be because they wanted to reschedule my induction. And sure enough, she left a voicemail. It was huge, and she was like, I'm sorry, we're going to reschedule your induction, and they were going to reschedule it for July 9th when my doctor was back on call. So then I was like, you know what, I feel like it was meant to be, because even on July 3rd I was like, I think I should wait. Like I feel really like iffy about getting induced. Like I think your body should do it naturally, like if you can, you know what I mean. Like some people wait till 42 weeks to see if their body can just do it naturally, and if they can't, then that's when an induction is like kind of necessary. So yeah, then we like went back to bed, and I was like, it was meant to be, because I was about to like call to like cancel it, because she had said like if I was iffy about it and if I didn't want to do like the induction, that I could cancel it. So then I decided to do, I just feel like it was meant to be. July 5th is actually my birthday. We woke up like kind of late, and then I was like, you know what, I just want to do something, and I kind of wanted to go hiking. So we went to Lake Tahoe, and we hiked a little bit, but even on the way there and then during our walk, I just felt like a lot of pressure like down there. It just felt like weird. I just felt like a lot of pressure. We did not get home until like a little bit later. We picked up dinner, like because it was my birthday, so we had staged eating, and I want to say we went into bed like at 10ish, at like 10ish, because Alonso had to work like the next day, so we couldn't stay up like late that much, and of course I was gonna work. Then around, what was it, I wrote everything down because I thought I was gonna forget. I brushed my teeth and everything like that, and I was already tucked into bed, and I usually sleep with just like my underwear and a t-shirt. And then I had walked into the living room and I sat on the couch, and when I was on the couch, I like moved a little bit, and then I felt like something come out. It felt like just regular discharge, but then like it was like still coming out, and I was like, oh crap. And then I walked to like the part of the house where it's like concrete, or not concrete but piso, and then more started coming out. And then I was like, I don't know, like my water broke. He didn't believe me. He was like, no, you're just like being dramatic or whatever. I was like, I swear to God, like my water broke. He was like, no, you're not. I was like, okay, come check. And then he like looked and he was like, oh crap. And then Chewy comes and is actually like licking it, and I'm like, gross. I go into the shower because I assume that when your water breaks, it's just like a bunch of gush that comes out. So I was like waiting in the shower for it to just come out. And I just didn't want to show up like all dirty like that. I put on some sweats and I was ready, and the stuff still started coming out, and I was just like, what? And later that I know that your water keeps coming out as the baby is moving. I wish I would have known that before. And I like did all my research, like I was so on top of everything, but like that's the one thing that I was like, I did not know that. Like no one says that. They just say like, oh, your water breaks and like a bunch of gush comes out. And I'm like, okay, well, you should tell people that a bunch of gush is going to continue coming out the entire time that you're in labor when your water breaks. So then we, got our stuff, went to the hospital. We got to the hospital at 1:30ish. And on the way to the hospital, like, as actually walking in, and also kept making me laugh, and my sweats were soaked wet, like como se me like toda mojada. It was really funny. So yeah, we got checked in, and at 12ish I got checked, and I was actually 3 centimeters dilated, 80% effaced, -1 station. At 1 o'clock I started Pitocin at the lowest level. Yeah, and then from there, like I was kind of feeling them a little bit. At 2ish is when I actually started getting like a little bit stronger contractions, and they were like manageable because I had practiced hypnobirthing. Yeah, so I practiced hypnobirthing. Really wanted to have a really positive, calming like birth experience, like whether that meant, and I practiced like I watched a ton of YouTubers who are like nurses and like are doulas too, and they like say like flex and flow. Like I'll leave everything of the people that I watched and got like all my education from down below, and kind of what I would to meditate. I'll leave all that stuff down below in case you guys are interested and you're kind of like stressed out about labor, or you're just scared, which is understandable. A lot of people were. I wasn't, because I did my due diligence of like mi tarea, my homework. Hypnobirthing kind of it's just peaceful. It's meditation, it's relaxation, it's positive affirmations to yourself. Like my body was made to do this. Just relax. Like I get to meet my baby, like, and just continuing to tell yourself that, so you can kind of so you can think about that instead of the pain, or like the intense contraction. Then the flex and flow is kind of like, okay, well, you might not do it naturally because you're not progressing, so okay, cool, let's change things. Okay, like if you're really in pain, think about the epidural, or like if just something's happening, we end up having a C-section. So I just kind of did all of my research where I was like, okay, I feel very comfortable with like all of this stuff, right? Like if this doesn't work, then okay, then we'll try this, and if that doesn't work, okay, then we'll try this. But overall, I just wanted to have a really positive like birth experience, because I know anything can happen, and I'd rather be prepared of like these are the different types of things that we have, or that you should expect, instead of going in there blind and being like, ow, like I could not imagine that ever. I'd rather just do your homework, because it's kind of like a marathon. Like if you're gonna be running miles in a marathon, you should probably practice. You shouldn't just go straight into it. Same thing with labor. You shouldn't just go straight into labor. You should practice your breathing, your relaxation, and just be very positive about yourself, because you're so strong, and your body, the woman's body, just does amazing things. And even if you end up having a C-section, your body is still so amazing that you are able to go through that. You know what I mean? Like anything to keep the mom and the baby safe is just, I was up for it. I was practicing my hypnobirthing by myself, because I also was like trying to sleep, but it's kind of hard because like you're like sleeping, but then I have to be breathing because of the contractions. But they were strong contractions, but they were manageable. I was just breathing through them at 2ish, and I was like sleeping through them. And then at 6 a.m. they checked me, and I was 3 to 4 centimeters dilated and 80% effaced. still at -1 station. And then from 6 to 11ish, yeah, this is when, like, so I was like 3 to 4 centimeters. Yeah, she was like barely a 4. You're barely a 4. And I was like, okay, well, you know, I was like, it's fine, like, we'll probably progress a little bit later. But then as like 7 o'clock hit, 8 o'clock hit, 9 o'clock hit, I was just like, at 9, 10ish, no, I was more like 10ish, at 10 o'clock, because I had texted my friends. At 10 o'clock, I was just like, oh my goodness, like, if she checks me at noon, which is when she was going to check me, and I had gotten another nurse, obviously. I had a night shift nurse, then I had a day shift nurse, and then at around 10ish, 11ish, that's when my, like, contractions started getting, like, a lot stronger. And it's hard, like, if I wasn't in my hypnobirthing state, like, of mind, and I wasn't relaxed, I would feel, like, the contractions. If I was relaxed and concentrating on my breathing and everything like that, I could go through it. Like, it was fine. I was just like, and I would do 6 second counts of breathing. So I'd go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and let it out. So in 3, out 3, a total of 6 seconds, and I would do that 5 to 6 times, and that was a whole contraction. Finish, I was just kind of like, if she texts me at like noon and I'm still at 4 centimeters, I cannot go another 12 hours, because that's already 12 hours at that time in labor. And I was like, I cannot go another 12 hours without any, like, absolutely any what's it called, medication, just because I was like, you're progressing so slow. So if it takes 12 hours to get to 4 centimeters, then it'll probably take another 12 hours to get to 8 centimeters. Of course, it's always so different, but I just felt like I was getting stuck. Because, you know, a lot of people do get stuck. I just wanted to make sure that I made, like, the right decision. And I was like, I feel fine right now. They're not painful, like, you know, but at the same time, I'm like, if they're going to be this exact intense for a whole, like, another 12 hours, I was like, my breathing at that point is going to be, like, I was just getting exhausted from so much breathing. Like, I was getting dizzy, I was getting lightheaded, I even puked. I puked around 10ish, because I was just kind of like, obviously you're dehydrated. I had not slept the day before, like the day of my birthday, July 5th, because then we went into the hospital, and then the morning of July 6th, I also didn't sleep. So it was like it took a lot on your body. At 11, I was 6 centimeters, 90% phase, and 0 station. Yeah, and these hurt really bad. I wanted an epidural, and I got my first fentanyl. So yeah, they had asked me about, or I had asked the first nurse that I got, like, what kind of pain medication they had, because I was really trying to avoid the epidural. Because why? Not because you're like, oh, I'm, you know, like, an amazing human for standing the pain. No, it was because I don't like the sense of not feeling my legs. Like, right now, my leg just was falling asleep, so then I have to change, like, position, because I hate that. I hate, like, the little, like, numbness. I don't like that. And I was trying to avoid feeling that, because I just did not want that. And then I also heard, like, the catheter, it's just not a fun thing, like, at all. So I was like, okay, I don't want, that's like my last resort. Not completely against it, I just wanted to get it at the right time if I needed to. And they gave me the fentanyl, and the fentanyl, she was like, this nurse, she was like, you're gonna want an epidural, because, like, it's not gonna do anything to you. It's pretty much very, like, it just relaxes kind of like your head, but you still feel every single contraction. And I felt every single contraction. But I wanted to relax my brain, because I wanted to get back into my hypnobirthing mentality, where I was relaxed and, like, you know, comfortable and concentrating, and not, like, starting to not panic, but, like, just starting to think that I couldn't do it. And she took a long time to get my actual fentanyl, though, and that's when I was like, can you just tell the nurse to give me, like, an epidural? And then she was like, oh, she comes in, she already has, like, the fentanyl doses, and she's like, the anesthesiologist is, like, currently in an emergency C-section or something like that, and it'll take, like, an hour or something like that. And I was like, okay, great. But I feel like that was a blessing in disguise, because it's kind of like, like God knew that like I wanted to do it like naturally as much as I could, and I knew I could do it. And like sometimes like, you know, you get bumps in the road where you think you can't do it. And I think that was kind of like a blessing in disguise. Like same thing with my induction getting rescheduled. It was a blessing in disguise. Same thing with the anesthesiologist being busy. It was a blessing in disguise because it ended up working out perfectly. She kind of gave me that first doses of fentanyl. She made a switch because she had to go home because they didn't have that many people, like patients. So then she left, and then another nurse came who was already working. She was the absolute best nurse. Like, that's when I love her. She came in with my doctor at 1 o'clock because my doctor wanted to check me before she left. No, it was, yeah, so she came in, no, at 12 o'clock. She came in and she was just like, oh, I'm gonna take over the shift. And I told her, I was like, oh, like I got the fentanyl, but it's like kind of wearing out. I don't know if I should get a second doses or how it works. She was like, oh, you can only get it like every hour. So I got one at 11. I got another one at 12. And she was like, but mostly like when you get, the more doses you get, the less it works. Like you'll continue to feel your contractions. And I was like, oh, that's fine. I just like want to be like relaxed. So she gave me one at 12:13. Then at 1 o'clock, my doctor came in with her, and she was on call that day, July 5th. But then she went to her office, and then she came back just to check me before she was actually gonna go like completely home and like off shift because she had been on shift for like the past 4 days, working nights. So then she checked me at 1 o'clock. She checked me and I was 8 centimeters when she checked me, and I got the third doses of the fentanyl at 1:13, and at 1:13 I got checked and I was 9.5, and then around 1:30, because it only lasts, so let me tell you guys, the fentanyl only lasts like 30 minutes. Like you only feel it, like I could only be relaxed for 30 minutes, so you only get it every hour, but you're only relaxed like for 30 minutes, because then after that I was like, yeah, I'm awake now. Like my mental state isn't calm anymore, because it just kind of relaxes you. So then I was and I felt really good. I felt like it worked really well with me because I was relaxed. I was breathing through them, and then at that point, as you saw in the video, like Alonso was helping me a ton, so he would count for me. So he'd count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I was just concentrating, like looking at him like deeply. And I was like, okay, I got this, I can do this. So he was like a ton of help. 1:30, it wore off. Then like she checked me and I was 9.5 and like 100% effaced. And then she told me to start pushing so then I could get to 10. But when I was, I want to say at 1:30ish when she checked me and I was 9.5, I want to say like I started puking again, because I don't know if it was the fentanyl that made me not nauseous, or if it was just the breathing. Like I couldn't tell what it was, but I puked again. And when I was puking, I was actually peeing, and she was checking me at 9.5. It was so funny. Like I legit squirted. Like I remember that for sure. Like I squirted, and I felt so bad. But then I was just like, psh, and it was gross. It was really funny, but yeah, anything can happen during labor. Then finally I got to 10 centimeters. 2, I was at 10, and I began to push without the doctor there. So then my doctor's office has a partner, and then she was the one that was actually going to deliver me, but they had told her like at 2 that they wanted to, that I was going to start pushing. You can see that, you can hear that stuff in the video. But pretty much they had called her, and then she's like, oh, she's pretty soon, like in the next 20 minutes, 30 minutes, she's gonna end up, or the next hour, she's gonna deliver. Once she got me to 10 by pushing, I got to 10, and then she told me to start practicing like practice pushes. And like mine were really strong, like I was pushing really well. And the baby was already like about to come out, so then just when she like runs out and is like, help, somebody, like, you know, like I need a doctor on call or something, because she's about to deliver this baby, and she would tell me to like stop pushing, but it's really hard. And that's when you hear me kind of like scream, because the baby was like literally coming out. I didn't feel no like ring of fire or anything like that. It felt like my body was just like pushing it out, and I was like, oh crap, like it's coming out of me. But other than that's like, that part is the only part I like screamed, because I was like, oh god, like, because she hadn't told me to like push. It was like my body was pushing, and I feel like when you help your body push, you kind of know what you're doing. Finally, like, the doctor ends up getting there like 5 minutes. She got there 5 minutes before I actually ended up delivering my baby at 2:27, and then I ended up tearing. And you saw that in the video too. So I had two second-degree tears, top and the bottom, and I actually ended up getting a hemorrhoid. It was a little painful because I could literally feel like, because I didn't have any epidural, so I felt like a knife just like cut me open like down there. It was a little intense. And then I could also feel her like stitching me up too. Like, I felt everything, and then like the whole pushing the placenta, like I could actually feel like me delivering something else again. I totally forgot to tell you guys, but when the baby actually was born, his umbilical cord was completely like knotted, like it had a knot, and it was really, really tight. And apparently that's not something that's normal, and it's not good, you know, because obviously the umbilical cord is where the baby gets the nutrients and stuff like that. So I don't think the baby had, or the umbilical cord was knotted when I went into labor. I think it was during labor, especially probably when he was trying to get head down. So yeah, so I was like, I honestly was like a little bit surprised once Alonso cut the umbilical cord, because I was like, that's actually not a good sign, like when you know, see the umbilical cord knotted or it wraps around their head and stuff like that. And that's obviously, you know, a C-section, just because usually their heart rate can go down, or they're not receiving any oxygen, blood flow and stuff like that. So I'm so thankful that I pushed like fast and the baby wasn't just in there, because I don't know what would have happened. And that's just like a scary thought, but I'm happy we have our little guy here. I just wanted to let you guys know, because I completely forgot to say that when I was recording the video. Mom brain. Yeah, that's pretty much it. But it was the most beautiful experience. Like, I'm so happy that my induction got rescheduled. I'm so happy that like I just went with like my gut feeling, because I had a feeling, oh, I forgot to tell you guys that too. I had been feeling contractions since on July 1st. I actually took castor oil, and then I started feeling contractions July 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th. Like, I felt contractions, like, but on the 1st and the 2nd and the 3rd, they were like consistent contractions, like every 2, 3, 4 minutes apart, but they were not intense. I was just breathing through them. So I was laboring at home during those days. But they told me not to go into the hospital until like I was super in pain, like unbearable. I could not walk. And that's why I felt like I should have waited to get an induction, because I like knew that my body was doing it by itself, because I was getting contractions, versus other people don't feel absolutely anything, and they're like, when isn't the baby gonna come, you know? So that's why I'm super happy that like I waited, because then I ended up going into labor by myself, and it happened. It was only 14 hours of labor. Obviously more, because if you count the other days I was having contractions, but I'm not going to count those. I'm going to count them until my water broke, and then I actually went to the hospital. But I was having contractions the days before. But yeah, they're pretty much amazing things that happen during labor, and I'm happy like it went well, and it wasn't like, you know, traumatic or a negative experience. It was very positive, and I'm hopeful that like other people will have positive experiences. At the end of the day, like how my sister-in-law even says it, like, you just want your baby here. They will do as much as they can to like take care of me and take care of the baby. So I just wanted it to be like a positive experience regardless of what happened. And you have to go in there with an open mind, because you just never know what's gonna happen. But thankfully everything worked out perfectly, and we have our little boy here. He's the most beautiful little boy ever, and he looks like Alonso. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Until next time.